Okay. Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning about how to Dockerize your own application. Okay. In the previous tutorial, we learned about how to develop with Docker, right? So today we'll be learning as to how to Dockerize an existing project. Okay. So suppose you have a project that you built using MERN stack. Okay, if the tech stack is MERN, in that case, how you will Dockerize it? That is what we are going to do. Okay, so uh, we'll get started with that. So I'll just open my own project and I'll show you how things are done in that. Okay, so for now, I'll just shut all these things. Okay, wait, I'll just open this one up because I'll forget about it otherwise. Not this one. This one. Okay, so this is something important. I'll explain to you. Okay, so overall, this is our project and how we are going to Dockerize it. Okay, so a project, normally a project. Okay, it's suppose this is a music app. Okay, so a music app will have a front end and it will have a back end. Okay, so you'll have to put or divide this whole project into two containers. One is your front end and another is your back end. Okay, so front end will be in a different container, right? So how are these containers built? Containers are built with the help of images. So we need to create image. So what do you mean by Dockerizing or creating image? It is the same thing. Okay, when you're saying you have created image of your front end and when you say you have Dockerized your front end, the meaning is same. Okay, that you have basically created a Docker file. Okay, so I'll just show you the folder structure. So there is one client, there is a server, and then you have compose.yaml, just like in the last tutorial how we created it in the root directory. Similarly, you will have a compose.yaml. Okay, so we'll look at that later. So inside client, we'll have one Docker file. Okay, we'll create a Docker file and we'll also create a Docker ignore file. Okay, some things that we don't need. Okay, so Docker file is going to look like this. Okay, so this is your front end's Docker file. All right, so I'll explain to you each line, like what it is doing, and I'll also open this Docker ignore file. So, okay, in Docker ignore file, you don't want certain things, okay, so like git ignore, you don't want your node modules, all these things you don't want, okay, you're just specifying that. All right, so this is standard. Okay, I'll explain to you about this Docker file first. So Docker file. So in Docker file, no, what is Docker file? Docker file is image. And remember in the first lecture what I had told you, what is an image? Image is like your recipe. So image is like your recipe means what? It will have all the instructions to create your final output. So in my case, I told you like we are going to make a cake. So a cake is equivalent to the container, right? So if we have a recipe of the cake, then we can make cake, right? Similarly, here what we are going to do, we are going to create image. So out of this image we can create the container. So image of what are we trying to create? We are trying to create the front end's image over here. Okay, we are trying to build the front end, or we are trying to containerize the front end. Okay, so these lines of code that you see are the instructions as to how you will containerize the front end. All right, I'll repeat once again. These lines of code, what are there in the Docker file, are the instructions. Uh, through by following these instructions, you can containerize your front end. Okay, so the first line says from node. Okay, now what is this from node? Okay, uh, from node means that you are trying to take a base image. Okay, you always, if you want to build something in Docker, you need to have a base image. Okay, why is that you need to have a base image? Now imagine when you are even running things locally. Okay, when you're running things locally, if you don't have a node, can you run your application? No, right? So similarly, it is sort of a prerequisite, right? So similarly, you need a base image. So that's why it is node. Now why it is node? It is because this project is a project based on Node. Okay, this is a Node application. Okay, now in case if it was Python, then we would have Python. Okay, instead of Node. All right. Then we go to the next instruction. Next instruction is specifying the working directory. So every you know Docker instruction will have this, like what is your working directory. So generally we write slash happy. Okay. Then what we are saying, then when we are saying copy package.json. So what we are trying to tell it, we are trying to uh, tell that copy all the content that is there in your package.json. So what is there in your package.json? Inside your package.json, okay, this is not the package.json of the client. We have package.json over here. Okay, so inside the package.json we have all these dependencies, right? So I'm telling the Docker file to copy all the this things that are there in this package.json. So it will copy that. Then what I'm doing, then I'm asking it to run a command. Okay, so look, then I'm asking it to run a command, that is npm install. So what does npm install do? Npm install installs these node modules, because you need node modules, right? So it will install these node modules. And then what is this copy dot dot that is copying all the code. Okay, it is copying all the code in this particular directory. Okay, it is copying all the code, like it is copying all the front end code. Okay, and it is putting it inside the slash app. All right. Then what is this expose 5173? It is expose 5173 means you are telling that your Docker container should expose 5173 and port number 5173, and this particular port now will be used for port binding. So when you do port binding, then you can access this port 5173 on your browser. Okay, so that's why you're doing this expose 5173. And then finally you're writing this command. Okay, cmd is npm run dev. This is to run your application. So you will run your front end, basically run your container. Okay, just a minute, I'll just plug my laptop for charging. Yes, so so that is it. I will just go all over again so that you understand, because in the backend also you are doing similar thing. Okay, so from what it is saying, from again it is saying you need a base image. So what is our base image? Our base image is node. Okay, node. Okay, look, and this comes under layering. Okay, there is a concept in Docker called layering. So a image is built out of layers. Now node also, no, internally it is built with some base image called Debian, and I believe the version is bookworm or something. So it is built with Debian. Okay, it is like how you have Debian and uske upar it node is built, and node ke upar now you're trying to build your application. Okay, it is like that. So now next time if you want to build your applications new version also, then you can build it over the same image also. All right. um, that is also possible. Okay, not new version only. New version is done actually by tagging, but I just want you to understand that that's the reason of having these base images. Okay, so now in our case our application is of node, right? So that's why we are taking the base image as node. Then we are specifying the working directory. Okay, then we are asking it to copy all the content which is there in the package.json, so that we have all the dependencies. Then we are running this command npm install, so that our node modules are installed. And one more thing I want you to notice, you can have multiple run commands. Okay, you can have multiple run commands, like instead of after this you can have 1 2 3 run some other command also. Now I cannot think of something, so maybe you can have multiple run commands. So basically I'm saying you can have run some command, command one. Okay, command one, oops, one, and then you can have run command two. Okay, you can have multiple. Okay, you can have multiple run commands. Okay, but you can have only one command. Okay, cmd, this, when you write this cmd, is the final command that you want to hit, that will make your container run, like which will make the application run within the container. Okay, that's why you write only one cmd. You can have multiple run instructions. Okay, Then you after this, after run, what we're doing, we are writing this copy. So copy, what is happening, copy all the front end code is being copied into this working our work directory. All right. Then what we are doing, then we are exposing the port. We are doing 5173, we are exposing it. So the port 5173 within our container is exposed, so it is open for port binding. Okay, and port binding, where we'll do a port binding in our Docker Compose file. Okay, that we'll see. And then final command to run our application within the container, that is npm run dev. All right. So this is our front ends Docker file. Like that only we'll have another Docker file. Okay, always create two Docker files, separate Docker files for um, this uh, client and server. Okay, separate Docker files will create, and again inside this also you'll have Docker ignore file. Okay. Then again, for backend also, again our backend also needs node, right? So from node, working directly, same thing, same thing, same thing, same thing. Okay. Did I open client only? Okay, okay, I opened client only. Huh. So look, again, it is the same thing. This is Docker file of client. This is Docker file of server. Okay, but the instructions are same. Just that I'm exposing some other port. Okay, my backend will be running on some other port because our application in the end is node based application only. Hence, we didn't have to do. Now, if our backend was Python based, then I would have said Python. Okay, Python base image, and then I would have had a different run command, and I would have installed also different things. Okay, now in I don't know what it is in Python. There is some pip install or something. So commands would be different basically. All right. So um, I believe it's clear that you need to make two Docker files, one for front end, one for back end. Okay, it's similar. All right. After that, after that, look, after your client, server, everything's done, then you need to make your compose file. Okay, now compose file, just like how we did it last time, uh, again we'll have services. So we have one is okay. Last time I was developing with Docker, right? So in our compose file now, this time we'll have services. Okay, and under our services we'll have two. One is client and another is server. Okay, so basically services in context of Dockerizing means the containers, how many containers you have. Okay, so one is we have the front end container. Okay, and another is the back end container. Okay, so here what I'm saying, under services I have my first service as client, and I'm asking it to build. And what I'm telling it to build this, take context from the Docker file which is present in the client directory. Okay, so I'm telling it to build the container, take the context of the Docker file. I'm asking it to refer to the Docker file that is present in the .client directory. All right. And then what I'm doing, then I'm giving it a container name, client. Okay, then what I'm doing, then I'm doing port binding over here. All right. Then what I'm doing over here, then I'm telling that this front end or the client depends on this server service. Okay, it depends on this service. Okay, um, actually depends on, no, we also in our Docker Compose file we do some health checks and all, but now I'm not doing that. When we'll study CI/CD, I will show you. Okay, I'll take my project and I will show you how health checks are done within Docker Compose files. Okay, I'll show you that also. So with that, we have finished, the client part in the Docker Compose file. Then let's move to the server part. In the server part, again, what I'm doing, I'm telling build. What I'm asking it to build, I'm asking it to build the container in which backend will run, and I'm asking it to take the context of the Docker file, or I'm asking it to refer to the Docker file which is present in the server's directory. Okay, then I'm giving it a container name server. Then what I'm doing, then I'm doing port binding. Okay, then what I'm doing finally, then I'm giving the environment variable because my MongoDB will need connection string, no. And look, we never actually specify the connection string like this. What we do, we actually store it in GitHub. There is, in your CI/CD, there is something called GitHub Actions. You can basically store secrets. Okay, this is a secret. Now you don't want to tell it to anyone, so you can store secrets in GitHub. Okay, so I will show you how to store that secret in my CI/CD when I'm explaining you CI/CD. Okay, for now, just as you for now just you can, you when you are trying it out on your application, you can do this, that you can just put the connection string for now. Okay, but actually when you are doing some production grade work, you will never specify your um, this connection string, because this also is, compose file is going to be pushed to your GitHub repo. Okay, it is not like a .env file which is going to stay locally. Okay, it is going to be pushed. Okay, that's why you will never mention it. You will always keep it, in the GitHub secrets. You will keep it. Okay, that is how. Then no, then there is one more thing. Okay, your front end now will not run if you don't write this piece of code over here. Okay, you need to sort of mention that that you're exposing this port. Okay, this port within the container. Okay, otherwise it will not work. So this piece of code, maybe I'll just send it in WhatsApp group also. So you in your v.config.js file, you'll have to write this piece of code. Okay, and then it will work. Okay, now that you have understood how to dockerize your file, again let me just repeat broadly. Okay, you have a complete application, you have a complete application, and inside that you have front end, back end. So how many Docker files will make? Two. One for the front end, one for the back end. Basically you will make two containers. Okay, so then inside the Docker file, what is there? Inside the Docker file, there are instructions to create image. Okay, so so you will create this image, and this image, you know will be run by the compose file. Okay, like by giving it context, like how we gave over here. All right, and the containers will run. Okay, now what we'll do, we will run this on that Docker desktop. Okay, so where is our Docker desktop? So currently my Docker desktop doesn't have any containers or image. So open your PowerShell. Okay, and then move to your directory. Okay, uh, yeah. Okay, this is my directory. So now what you want to do, you want to run your Docker Compose file. So you first of all just check ls, is your Docker Compose file in the root directory? Yes, it is in your root directory. So you will write Docker compose -f compose up and -d. Okay, so with this the container will be built. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pause. Okay, take some time so that we save some time. Once it is done, I'll continue. Okay, it has still not finished, but I just wanted to show you, okay, that slowly layers are being built. Okay, and you will see some steps over here. See those steps that we specified in our Docker file, all those are being executed and layers are being built, like how I told you. Okay, I just wanted to show you this, and when you are also building, see to that you observe such things. Okay, and also one more thing. Okay, I missed in last time's tutorial. Okay, look, I told you now we have multiple containers, right? Now we have front end and back end. Now this front end and back end has to have to communicate, right? So to communicate, what you need network. So in the Docker commands tutorial, I had shown you that we make a this we create a custom network with commands, but in the same tutorial I told you that we will not be doing that actually. Okay, when we write it, code in our file, by default only all this network and everything is created. So now once our Docker compose, basically our this thing is created. Now if you see, um, once our full container is been created over here, see, these are the images, back end and for front end, and then we have our containers. container, we have one server and client, just like how we give name, and then we have done port binding, right? Those two also are there here. Okay, so after this has finished running, you will observe that a network has been created by default, though we didn't mention any command. We didn't write any command, right, to create this network. So this is handled by default. Okay, that's why you will see tunes music app underscore default. A network also is created. So within this network, two different Docker containers can communicate with each other. Okay, now what we'll do, now I'll just show you like so look, if I click on this, see my backend service is running at this localhost 3000, so not authenticated. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll authenticate. So we'll go to the front end. Okay, if I click on this front end, okay, so front end has come. Okay, now we'll log in. So okay, we'll log in and hopefully everything works. Yes. Okay, so okay, this is Jasram's profile. This is my friend. So this is his profile. He doesn't have any favorite song or something. So maybe we'll just edit his uh, bio. Okay. So you see, you can do all the basically everything. Your various API requests, everything is working. Auth was working right within this. Now we also did this. Uh, what do you say, edited the bio, right? So everything is working just like how it has to work on our local system within the container also. So that is why Docker is used. And even in production setup, what companies do is they deploy this Docker container in a virtual machine. Okay, so that I will show you in CI/CD. This, like when I'm teaching you that now, I will show you how it is deployed. Okay, even now if you see, if I reload, Mm, why it is showing not authenticated? God knows. Okay, why it is not showing not authenticated? Maybe some APIs endpoint something. I only have made some mistake. Okay, but basically you see everything is working inside this. Okay, sorry, I had just got a phone call. So yes, so basically what I'm trying to say is just like how your application normally works on your laptop. Okay, similarly, your Docker container, within your Docker container also your application works. Okay, so this is how things are done. Okay, now no, I want to teach you one more thing. Okay, how to push your this. Now these images are there now. You have created these images over here. See, okay. Now let us push this to some container registry. Okay, just like Docker Hub, how I told you, right, it stores all your images. Like that only we'll also push it. Okay, but we'll not push it to Docker Hub. That is because I noticed that Docker Hub lets you make only one private repository. Okay, so in that case there is no use, like, okay, otherwise you'll have to pay if you want to store. So then I came across that GitHub also has its own this container registry. Okay, it's this packages. Okay, so you can have your images, Docker images, and decide who can see it, accesses. All these things are there. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll push our images, the images that we created, into this container registry. All right. So for that, what you'll need to do, before moving on, I hope you have understood how to Dockerize your own application. Okay, so now we'll learn as to how to push the images that are created into a container registry. So you have to go to settings. Okay, and under settings you'll have developer settings. Okay, so go to developer settings and then you want to create personal access token. So click on this tokens classic. Okay, and then you want to generate a new token. Okay, so generate a new token classic. Okay, and then you will need to authenticate. Okay, so I'll authenticate. Okay, so my authentication is done. So now what we'll do, we'll sort of, you need to give a note over here. Okay, what the token is for. So this token basically now we are using it for a login, right? So this is GitHub container registry login. I have given it like that. So you can also set it this expiration time also you can set. Okay, so 7 days we'll set it. Then now you need to tick these two boxes. This one and this one. Okay, these two boxes you need to tick. Okay, this to upload your packages, all of that. Okay, and once you tick on those two checkbox, then you will generate token. Okay, so once you generate token, you will get the token here. Now we'll need to log in. Okay, so now we need to log in, right? So to log in, there is a command. So over here, see. So the login command. So what is the login command? Docker login hyphen username. Username, this username will be your GitHub username. Okay, so this is my GitHub username. Then hyphen password, and then you will give this token that was generated over here, this token. Okay, you will give this token over here, and then you will write ghcr.io, so GitHub container registry.io. Okay, so let us copy this command. Okay, let us, and then let's paste it over here. Okay, and we need to change the token. This was my previous token. Okay, so let us go and copy the token. Okay, we have copied it. We'll paste it, and then we'll hit enter. Okay, you'll just get some warning. Okay, you that you should not be using it a password like this in the command prompt, but then ultimately you'll get login succeeded. Okay, and then once you have logged in, no, what you need to do is now you need to build. Okay, so you need to build, right? So the build command, this is the build command. So you need to build what? You need to build your image. Okay, so to build your image, you need to go to the directory where your Docker file is. Now first we'll build our front end. So cd will go to client. Okay, we'll go to client and we'll build the front end. Okay, what is the command? Docker build, and in this particular directory we are saying, we are asking it to build the this what you say, mm, the image. Okay, we are asking it to build the image. Okay, so we are asking it to build the image. So now we'll copy docker build. Okay, this command will copy, and I'll break this command down for you. Okay, so here, see. So first of all, we are not building backend, we are building front end. Okay, front end. Okay, so what is this? In this command, I'm asking docker to build the docker file which is in the in this directory, in the directory that we are presently. Okay, then I'm asking it to give a tag. Okay, um, this with this I mean username and front end, and the versioning has been given as latest. Okay, so this is the latest version of the image. Okay, and I've given the tag of this GitHub container registry and with my username and everything. Okay, so you will see that. Okay, so once we hit enter, our docker image will be built. Okay, so this also takes some time. Okay, everything takes some time. Oh, okay, apparently this didn't take time. Okay, fine. Okay, so I guess there was some build cache. Okay, so once this has been built, no, then you want to push this image. Okay, now the image has been built. Now you want to push the image. Where you want to push the image? You want to push the image uh, to your container registry. Okay, so first of all, this is not backend, this is your front end, right? So we'll just rename it front end. Okay, and what is the command? Docker push, and then again just the same thing. Okay, as we wrote in the previous command. Okay, the tag and the version. Okay, and after that what we do is we hit enter. Okay, this takes some time. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pause again. Okay, and once this thing is done, I'll get back. Okay, it's done. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll come back to our GitHub. Let us open GitHub. Okay, and let's go to our packages. So packages, you'll see this package, tunes, front end, GHCR, okay, with the tag that we give, okay. And over here, you will see the pull command, docker pull this. So once if we hit this command now, our image will get pulled, okay. So maybe if you want, we can try that, okay. So what we'll do is we'll just open another this and docker images. Let's check what images we have. We have this, okay. So this tunes client is the image that we have, right? So what we'll do is we delete this image, okay. So docker rmi and this, so we'll delete. What is the animation? Okay, the image is being used. All right, so we'll have to delete the containers first, okay. So first of all, we'll have to delete these containers. Okay, so we'll delete it from here only, okay. इसका उपयोग is तो done, so we'll delete it, okay. And this images also we can delete it from here only, okay. So you'll also notice that a front image has been created here also, okay, but we'll delete all the images away, okay. And then we'll pull it from our container registry, okay. So CLS, what we'll do is we'll pull this, okay. So when we copy this and we hit enter over here, the image will be pulled, the front end image, okay. So see, it is pulling the image, and you will see that image will come over here, and then you can run that image and again get the container running. And similarly, you will have your backend front, like you'll have your front end running, okay. We didn't push our backend yet, we'll push our backend also, okay. So you have this image, so you see this image is come, okay. Now what we'll do is, now we'll go back over here and we'll push our backend also. So how you'll push your backend now? You need to go to the directory where the backend's docker file is. So the backend's docker file is inside the server, okay. So we'll go there, and then we need to build the image again, okay. So now in this case the commands are same, so we'll copy, okay. We'll copy this and we'll paste. It's correct, right? Everything is yes, and we'll hit enter, and again this will build, okay. Hopefully it will build fast, okay. So it has built, okay. Now what we need to do is we need to just push this, okay. So we'll push this, okay. Okay, now this also has been pushed, okay. So now if I just go to my packages, you'll see two packages, one is front end, one is back end, okay. So this is how you push your images into a container registry, and now we have pushed it into GitHub container registry, okay, because this is free, that's why. And you can store it as private, okay. That is the thing. In Docker Hub also you can store, but in Docker Hub you can store on you like they allow you to create only one repo for free, which is, you know, which has the visibility private. Rest all the repos are public, but you would never keep your container image or your project's image in public, okay. You don't want someone else to take it, right? So that's why you need to put it in private. So now in Docker Hub it is not there available for free, so I thought why not put it in GitHub only over here, okay. Anyways, everyone is using GitHub, so this is how you push it to your GitHub container registry, all right. And similarly, now if you look over here also, if you go to backend, you will get the command to pull, okay. So maybe you can try that out, okay. With that, uh, we have completed Docker, okay. There is nothing left for you in Docker to study, okay. You have finished everything in Docker. And now what we'll be doing is we'll be starting with system design, Okay, we'll understand system design, and then maybe in the offline session I will teach you CI/CD. Okay, because I have to teach you conceptually also, and I'll have to show you some code also. All right, and I hope you have understood Docker from start to end. If there is any confusion, let me know. This especially Dockerizing. Okay, Dockerizing is very important, because if you don't understand this Dockerizing, you might not understand CI/CD also, because in CI/CD also we are trying to Dockerize the image. We are trying to Dockerize our project, and then we are deploying this container into a virtual machine. Okay, all of that I will show you during the offline session. Probably in the offline session we'll be able to finish all of it. Okay. Yes. Okay, chalo, bye.